Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one we have a new set review to do, which is for Heatwave Arena, which is commonly just known as Cynthia's Garchomp and Ethan's Pokemon set really, because there's honestly not that much else to talk about in the set. But there's been some fun card reveals, so we can go over them at the very least. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, this set will combine with the Team Rocket set, to create Destined Rivals in the West, which will release in May. So we really don't have to worry too much about these cards right now. It's going to be a while before we have to care about them. We've got Journey Together to look forward to before that comes out. But yeah, on with the set review though. So the first card we can take a look at here is an Ethan's Pinsir. I did talk about this the other day, so very briefly, for 3 colors, it does 70, and then 100 more if any of your Ethan Pokemon were KO'd by your opponent's Pokemon during their last turn. So, kind of cool because it just means you can actually accelerate 2 Fire Energy with the Ethan's Ho OEX to this Pokemon, and then you'll basically just be able to do 170 as like revenge style KO, especially against things like Charizard, where you'll obviously just be able to get a 1-hit kill on them, which is great. I will say this though, if we do ever get any Megas that have weakness to grass, then that of course will be fantastic, because it'll just mean you can get a 1-hit KO on, 3 price Pokemon, which is great. So yeah, I think Ethan's Pinsir honestly has a good chance of seeing some play. Then we also have this Yama, which has 70 HP and the attack Whirlwind, which is kind of relevant actually to your Mega EX. So it just says switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Wait, what? Okay, never mind. For some reason, I thought Yama's Whirlwind was switch itself to the bench, but no. Okay, no, not relevant. Sorry. Okay, never mind. I mean that can be kind of useful, but yeah, not super relevant. So your Mega EX has, or Yanmega, has 208 HP, so kind of bulky, for what is essentially just a glorified Dragonfly. Has the ability Buzz Boost, which says once in your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active, you may search your deck for triple basic grass energy and attach them to this Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. And then Jet Cyclone for 3 grass and a colorless does 210. And then you get to move 3 energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So a very interesting card. Honestly, a very, very, very strong ability. So, 3 energy ramp just for switching is great. One thing I will say is that 210 is not particularly great. So you'll probably have to involve things like Hisuian Lilligant, I'm guessing, just to do a bit more damage. For those who don't know, Lilligant was supposed to come out in Prismatic Evolutions, but it seems to have been delayed until Journey Together, or the set afterwards, which is this set. And that will basically just increase your Grass type and Fire type damage by plus 20. So yeah, with Lilligant, this could be pretty cool. Also things like Blood Moon EX could be a good partner for this, like Venusaur EX, any of like the grass megas, I'm assuming we'll get a bunch of them. So yeah, honestly a card to keep an eye on, and I do think this one is fairly solid overall. So yeah, pretty cool. Also got resistance to fighting, so Mega Lucario will not be able to one-shot you without some serious modifiers, which is quite funny. So yeah, I definitely think this is a one to keep an eye on. And yeah, as a fan of this Pokemon, I'm quite happy to see it. Then we have a Cynthia's Roserade, which is basically just in the Cynthia's deck to increase your attack damage by plus 30, which is pretty handy, of course. Like, I could definitely see this being like a 1-1 line in the Garchomp deck. Maybe a 2-2 line just because you have the Gabite ability to help get set up. But to be honest, I think deck space will be quite tight with it being a stage 2 deck. So I think maybe a 1-1 line is more appropriate. But, if we ever see any more Cynthia's Pokemon in the future, then Roserade could also see some additional play. Also got the Shaman, which I'm pretty sure everyone's already seen at this point, but it does have the ability Flower Curtain, which says prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon without a rule box by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So lovely. It's just a bit of protection for the small Pokemon. It won't protect your Pheasant abilities, which is kind of big in my opinion, but at the same time, it does help, smaller Pokemon just survive a bit longer, which is great. It does have 8 HP, however, so you can't Boffin for it, which is, yeah, that's a major oof in a lot of these decks, because typically the Pokemon you want to protect that have low HP often have 70 HP, so you have to now run like Poffin with Nest Ball and stuff. So I could see that being a bit awkward, but to be honest, I still think Shaman will see a whole bunch of play. So yeah, very, very good card. Then we have a Dwebble with the attack Ascension, which is great. Like, Ascension's just always a great move to have, really. 70 HP as well, so to be honest, I think Dwebble gets the award of being like one of the best pre-evolutions we have in this generation. So yeah, Ascension plus 70 HP The only way this card could be any more perfect is if it had like one less retreat cost and maybe some resistance. But yeah, very, very powerful Pokemon. Then we also have a Crustle, of course, to go with Dwebble. This Crustle actually might be our first legit Crustle deck in Standard, just because it has an ability which is basically just Barrier. So Mysterious, Stonehouse, or not Barrier, sorry. Safeguard, I guess it's called. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. Now, I'll have to verify this at some point, but I'm sure someone could tell me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure Mega Evolution factor into this because they count as Mega Pokemon EX, if I remember correctly. I think so. Honestly, it's been a while since I've looked at the rules and stuff, but yeah, I think this does include Megas. But even if it doesn't, I still think this is a very, very strong ability. And to be honest, I really do feel at this point we will see some kind of double colorless reprint at some point. Like, we've not got one in this set, which is a bit of an oof, but I'd imagine we'll see some kind of double colorless energy in the set after, like in the Team Rocket set. So yeah, Great Scissors does 120 and then isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So yeah, seems like a lot of fun as a cheap budget deck, also quite tanky. We've got a new Grass-type Applin, a new Grass-type Diplin, just nowhere near as good as, of course, the Festival Lead Diplin, though. We also have this Hydrapple, which has the attack Hydro Breath, which for 1 Grass Energy says discard 6 basic Grass Energy from your hand in order to KO your opponent's active Pokemon. And if you can't discard 6 Grass Energy in this way, this attack does nothing. So, yeah, it's definitely a bit of a meme, but there's also an art rare for this card, which is amazing. So yeah, 170 HP, pretty average for stage 2 these days. Honestly, I think this could be a lot of fun. Is it going to be any good? Probably not. But still, a lot of fun. You know, like, I wouldn't necessarily play this with the Diplin Festival Lead deck, just because that deck wants to kind of play low counter Grass Energy, typically. I'll just try and build this as its own thing. And maybe you have the other Diplin built in anyway as like a better attacker sometimes. But in all honesty, a very, very scary kind of attack. Like, you can imagine this against Megas, right? It's just an easy 3 prizes. So I think there has to be a way of easily getting 6 Grass Energy, aside from Superior Energy Retrieval and cards like Lady and Fisherman. So yeah, it seems like a very fun budget deck to try. We then have a Teal Mask Scorpion, which is just absolute garbage. Yeah, that's right, run away back to the forest. And in all honesty, maybe in GLC this is alright, but yeah, aside from GLC, then yeah, it's a bit rubbish. Then we have a Ponyata, which is always very cute. Then we have a Rapidash. Once in your turn, you may draw a card. I mean, who's going to play this? Let's be real. It could be good in a cube setting, maybe GLC, but like, yeah, it's just not a very good standard card. Then we have an Ethan's Typhlosion line. Cyndaquil has 70 HP, which is important. Has the best attack name in the game, Ember, which is great. Ethan's Quilava does have the ability Adventure Bound, or Adventure Bond, which says, once your turn, you may search your deck for an Ethan's Adventure, which is a great supporter card for this deck. Reveal it and put it into your hand, which is great because Ethan's Typhlosion does 40 damage and then 60 more for each Ethan's Adventure in your discard pile. So great synergy. Probably just means you want to use TM Evolution in this deck and just not really rely on Red Candy too much. And just basically TM Evolution a bunch of these into play, get all supporters out of the deck, and then, yeah, hit big damage. The alternative route is going like turbo mode with Brilliant Blender. So search your deck for 4 of these supporters and discard them, but in all honesty, it doesn't seem that bad either way. You cap at like 280 damage for 1 energy, which isn't bad actually. Like, it's not going to be enough to deal with the big stage 2s and what they call the Megas, which is a bit of a problem. But aside from that, you know, your Mega looks to be pretty good, so I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a very, very solid intro deck. Like, just to start the game, I think this will be a very, very fun budget deck, so I'm looking forward to playing this, honestly. I might try and make this IRL. Then we have Ethan, Slugma, and Macargo. Macargo, honestly, isn't that bad. Slugma sadly has 80 HP, which is a little bit rough. Now, Ethan's Adventure, which I can probably talk about now, actually, does say search your deck for 3 and any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic Pharyngy, which is really cool. So, like, Ethan's Macargo and Slugma could have synergy with the Ethan supporter, which is nice. But yeah, it does have the ability Melt and Flow. If this Pokemon has no energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost, which is a great ability for this card to have, because Lava Burst requires you to discard up to 5 energy from this Pokemon, and you do 70 damage for each card you discarded in this way, which is, yeah, that's a scary, scary amount of damage. And you can quite easily power this guy up, by the way. because Ethan's Ho-OEX says, once in your turn, you may attach up to 2 basic Pharangi from your hand to one of your bench to Ethan's Pokemon. So way back at the start of the video when we talked about having synergy with Pinsir, this is basically what you'll be using in the Ethan's deck. Now, I don't think you need this with Typhlosion, because Typhlosion only needs 1 energy, of course, but I think with like the Macargo, the Pinsir, and then the Sudowoodo, which we'll look at later on, I do think you'll want to play this EX just to help get the energy into play. But aside from that, a very powerful card. Visibility also doesn't state that you have to, or like you can only use it once per turn, I guess. So I'm pretty sure you could just bench 2 of these and then ramp 4 energy to a Macargo. And at that point, you're doing 280, which is very respectable. Then you discard a 5th energy, and then what's that? 3. Is that 340? I think, yeah. Maths, can't do maths. 350, 340, that kind of number. So very scary, to be honest. So yeah, looking forward to playing this. Seems like one of the better decks from the set for sure. Then we have Hearthflame Mask Ogopon, which is this any good? No, this is GLC. Goodbye. Then we have Misty Psyduck, which, spoiler alert, Misty's doesn't really have a lot of support in this set. There's no Misty EX, which is kind of sad. There's also like not a dedicated Misty's supporter card or stadium or anything like that. It's it's a bit rough for Misty's, but it does have a deck at least. And we can scroll all the way down past these to the Gyarados because it is the main piece of the deck. For a single Water Energy, Splashing Panic says discard the top 7 cards of your deck, and then you do 70 damage times the amount of Misty's Pokemon you find there. And that's the deck in a nutshell. Like, that's just it, really. It's what you see is what you get. If you don't like these styles of attacks, then Misty's is not for you, sadly. But personally, I'm a huge fan of them, and there's a lot of fun pieces to this deck. So, for example, Misty's Magikarp just has bench barrier while it's on the bench, which is great. Just means that you don't have to worry about it being sniped by attacks. Also got Misty Starmie, which again, not very good, but you'll just be discarding with Gyarados anyway. And you probably run full Misty Staryu anyway. Also got Misty Psyduck, no Golduck, because I don't think she had one in the series, but she does have the ability, Psyduck does, Slapstick Jump, which says once your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may discard the bottom card of your deck, and if you do, discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and put it on top of your deck. So, kind of scary because it's just a plus 70 modifier for Gyarados, which is nice. But then there's also the argument to be made, can you actually stack multiple Psyducks on the top of your deck? Like, you will be milling 4 cards every time you do this, but if you can do it, it's a guaranteed, 280 damage? So, yeah, I think this could be worth it several times a game. So, honestly, a lot of fun with Misty Psyduck. But yeah, even if you start the game with Psyduck, you could obviously just switch it to the bench and then, discard it. So, seems like a lot of fun. We'll definitely be playing this day 1 of launch. Also got Misty's Lapras, which is just another basic, sadly, but if you have to start with it, then it's not the worst. Search your deck for up to 3 Misty's Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Honestly, this deck really reminds me a lot of the Gyarados deck from the Sun and Moon era, like the Team-Up Gyarados. Very fun deck back in the day, so I have high hopes that this will be a blast to play at the very least. So yeah, that is Misty's Pokemon in a nutshell. Also got Cynthia's Milotic, which is it's not very good, but in like GLC, maybe like a spread deck with Frostlass, it could be quite fun. So yeah, you GLC fans, but nothing for standard. Then we have a Floatzel, which it's pretty bad. Then we have a Dondozo EX, which sadly has no synergy whatsoever with Tatsugiri, which is, that was certainly a choice, wasn't it? I really wish this had synergy with Tatsugiri, but 260 HP, so quite beefy. Has 2 attacks. Tsunami Reversal does 30, and then 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And then Dynamic Dive does 120 for 4 NG. And you may do 240 instead, but if you do, this attack does 50 to itself. This card is really bad, which is, it's just disappointing, to be honest. Like, I love Dondozo, but yeah, this Pokemon just isn't doing it for me, sadly. It's a bit of a rubbish card, but, maybe something fun with Luxurious Cape and stuff, but yeah, as it stands right now, I don't think Dondozo is very good. Got a Wellspring Mask Ogopon, which, I don't know why I expected this one to be any better than the other Ogopons, but yeah, okay, this is very much a GLC piece. Then we have a new Electabuzz, 90 HP, so no Poffin, sadly. Electrive EX, 208 HP, so again, quite bulky. Again, zero synergy with Magmortar, which feels really weird. Like in a set called Heatwave Arena, which I know like this set will become a part of Destined Rivals, but I would kind of like there to be a bit more synergy between the Pokemon. So Electrive having zero with Magmortar, Dondozo having zero with Tatsugiri, just feels a bit bad to be honest. But yeah, Dual Bolt does 50 damage to of your opponent's Pokemon, so like Frostlass, I guess. Maybe Frostlass is enough here. And then high voltage press does 180 for 3 energy. And if you have at least 2 extra energy, then you do 100 more damage. So you have to pay 5 energy just to do 280. Oof, not sure about that. But the first attack I think actually has a bit of potential, at least with Frostlass, because 50 to 2 is not like complete rubbish at least. So like maybe this with like Cofagrigus and Frostlass, it could be a lot of fun. So and also neither of these have an ability, so Frostlass is probably your best partner. Maybe like Galvantula EX, maybe because Joltik can charge up energy. So yeah, could honestly see this being quite fun actually. I'm just kind of giving it a hard time because there's no Magmortar EX and no synergy with Magmortar. Okay, and then we have Ethan's Pichu, which has the attack Sparking Draw. 30 damage, draw a card, 0 energy, has free retreat. Yeah, not very good to be honest. Ethan. Even in an Ethan's deck, to be honest, I think I'd rather just run Budew or Clever. So yeah, Ethan's Pichu not very good in my opinion. Then we have a new Manectric, but sadly it's just not doing anything. Maybe in a Lightning GLC spread deck though, it could be okay, I guess, but not much else. Then we have a new Rotom, which has the attack Gadget Show, which for 2 colors does 30 damage for each Pokemon to a card attached to all of your Pokemon. So I do think this could be really good in the future, but sadly we just do not have a way of paying this attack cost. You know, like 2 colors energy is it's expensive without double colors. So we do need some kind of go away, stupid ads. Like we do need some kind of way of paying this attack cost. So like some kind of double colors would be nice. Then we have this Zeraora with the attack Thunder Blitz. Discard all energy, and then you do 210 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon EX. So basically just a Pheasantipity Hunter. That's basically just what this is. But it is for 3 light energy, so, you know, a Ride deck will have to find a way of getting energy on there. But if you can do that, then yeah, seems like a very efficient way to snag 2 extra prize cards. Then we have Ethan's Sudowoodo, which has the attack Attempt Mimicry. Flip a coin. If heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack for 2 colors. Again, very awkward attack cost. At least this Pokemon is an Ethan's Pokemon though, so you can of course use Ho-Oh-EX to charge up 2 fire energy, which is nice. So at least there's some potential there, right? But it is on a coin flip, so you know it's a bit risky. Then we have Cynthia's Gibble with 70 HP, so quite nice. You know, can use Puffin. Also got Cynthia's Gabite, which says once your turn, you may search your deck for Cynthia's Pokemon, which is great for finding Roserade, which will then, you know, boost your damage by plus 30. So that's quite nice. And then Cynthia's Garchomp has 330 HP, weakness to grass, so your Mega will be able to one-shot this, sadly. But it does have 2 pretty good attacks. Corkscrew Drive just does 100, then you may draw cards until you have 6 in your hand, which can be good for finishing things off. And then Dragon Blaster for 2 fighting energy, does 260, and then you get to discard all energy from this Pokemon. I made it sound like that was a good thing, but yeah, no, this is a bad effect. But someone did suggest in the comment section of the video, which I reviewed these cards initially, they did suggest you could use Power Glass, which is a great suggestion. So you just slap a Power Glass on this thing, you discard all energy, but then you get 1 energy back at the end of your turn. So yeah, honestly, not that bad. Seems pretty strong. You've got the Roserade, of course, to increase your damage by plus 30, but then you've even got that new item card, which should be coming out like when the Megas come out, which is the one that says your fighting Pokemon do plus 30 damage this turn. Which, now that I think about it, could help Gibble like take out a Budew for 1 energy, which is quite good. So yeah, I do quite like this deck. It seems like a lot of fun. It's probably not the deck I'll be playing day 1, I'd imagine. You know, I'm still more of a Misty's meme deck kind of fan, but the Garchomp does look like a lot of fun at the very least. Then we have a Mudbray and a Mudzale. Mudzale is bulk, sadly, go away. We have an Arven's Toad Squirrel, which I'm not sure why they gave this the Arven's name, because it just has zero situation. What the hell? Zero synergy with Arven's Pokemon. That's what I meant to say there. So yeah, it's just a bit rubbish. I guess like in GLC it's okay, but yeah, for standard it's not very good. Then we have Cornerstone Mask Ogopon, which another GLC piece. Then we have Cynthia Spiritomb, which has the attack Raging Curse, does 10 damage for each damage counter on your benched Cynthia's Pokemon, but it's not affected by weakness. Oh, that's so mean. So you won't be able to get a one-hit KO on Mega Gardevoir, sadly. But yeah, Raging Curse is yeah, it can be quite powerful because there is a tool card which will increase Garchomp HP by like plus 70, I believe. So hopefully you can get Garchomp to tank a hit, and then you can come in there with Spiritomb and one shot something. But yeah, that's kind of the strat here, I guess. I think maybe the Power Glass option of just like continuously attacking with Garchomp might actually just be better. But at least Spiritomb is here as a nice single prize option, which is cool. So, and you can find it with Puffin, and you can find it with Gabite. So, yeah, seems pretty solid. Then we get to Arvid's Mabostiff, 70 HP, so in Puffin range, which is good. And sadly, Mabostiff is not very good Hustle Tackle, doing 30, and if it has no damage counters on it, it does 120 more. Like, what is 150 in this day and age? It's not a lot. So, you know, like 210 is a bit shaky, 150 is kind of rubbish. So, yeah, it's a bit bad. Maybe if we get some good double colorless NG, like damage modifiers or something for Arvin's Pokemon, then cool. But aside from that, I really just don't see this card seeing much play. It's just a bit rubbish. We have a new Taurus, which seems like it'll be a fun GLC piece. We have an Arvin's Squovit. Okay. We have an Arvin's Greedent, which has the ability Greedy Order. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may put up to 2 Arvin Sandwich from your discard pile into your hand. Lovely. So Arvin Sandwich, for those of you who want a quick translation, just says heal 30 damage from your active Pokemon. If that Pokemon is an Arvin's Pokemon, you heal 100 instead. So it's supposed to have synergy with Mabostiff, but, you know, like 150, is that really enough? Not really feeling it, sadly, for this deck. I'll give it a go, because it seems kind of fun, but aside from that, it doesn't seem great. Then we have Sacred Ash, which I guess could be viewed as like a dedicated support item for the Misty's deck. Shuffle up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile back into your deck. Seems very, very good in a deck where you'd be constantly discarding Misty's Pokemon, hopefully. So, yeah, I could definitely see this being a 2, 3 off, or maybe even a 4 of in that one. So, yeah, seems like a pretty good card. And then Arvin Sandwich, you know, outside of an Arvin's deck is literally just a worse potion. So, no reason to play this, sadly. We've got a switch, Pokemon Catcher, and Cynthia's Power Weight. So, yeah, increases the HP of the Cynthia's Pokemon by plus 70. You could honestly just slap this on Roserade as well, by the way, or Spiritomb to make it a bit tankier. So, you know, there's that option, which is quite nice. Then we've got MC's Hype Up. Draw 2 cards. If your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, draw 2 more. I don't like this card very much. Like maybe in a Tinkerton deck, maybe. Could be a thing in GLC, I guess. But yeah, like 4 cards is just not a lot, really. A Judge, that's nice. I'd love to see Judge. And then Ethan's Adventure, which says search your deck for up to 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic Farngy. So yeah, very, very good in the Ho-Oh Macargo box deck. And also just good in the Typhlosion deck, right? Because you have to play 4 of them anyway. So yeah, pretty good supporter lineup, I would say. Seems like a fun set. Then these are the secret rares that have been revealed. We've got a Cynthia's Roserade, which is very cool. So you can go like max rarity for the Cynthia's deck. We've got the Crustle, which is nice. Hydrapple's really cool. Rapidash, I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest. Rotom is alright, but again, I want to see a double colorless reprint before I sink any time into that. I do think the Greedent is very cute, but I'm not sure I'd play Greedent in the Arvin's deck anyway. Cynthia's Garchomp is very cool, though. Ethan's Ho-Ho seems pretty cool. And then the other Garchomp is also quite nice. So, yeah, seems like a very fun set overall. Got some fun cards, but of course, we'll just have to wait and see what the Team Rocket set produces. But yeah, a very few, well, like 3 or 4 decks at least from this set. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, let me know what you think about these Pokemon down below. Do you think there's any Pokemon I've been a bit too harsh with, maybe? But yes, Power. And yeah, thank you for watching.